Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Katie Weaver Show. This is Katie. I'm your host. If you are listening live, it is the 20th of February at about 11 a.m. Pacific time. If you're listening to an archive or a replay, I also want to welcome you to the show. Oh, I want to let you know we're over in the chat room. You can find that by heading over to 12radio.com. Click on the chat button, and you'll be redirected into the Facebook chat. You'll see my banner there at the top of the page. That's a great place to come to chat with us and ask questions, things of that nature. So you're welcome to do that. I've got my eye on that. I also want to let you know that I am live streaming this event from YouTube and Facebook, and that is Katie Weaver Domestic Mystic. You can find it over there in either place and watch the live if you'd rather. I also have my eye on the live chat, so any questions that you have or comments or whatnot, I will see those there as well. I'm a great multitasker. I can do it all. At least that's what I try to convince myself, right? Hey, Lillian, Sherry, Jessica, Sid, good to see everybody filing in. I know, Renee, good to see you too. And everybody else that's wandering in the door. I know how it is. Oh gosh, you guys, how are you? Anything new? Anything exciting you want to share with the crew? I'm rocking my Boise State Broncos t-shirt. That can only mean one thing. Boise State plays today. So, hells yes. I even made a ring. I don't know if you can see it. It's a little glass rose ring that I made myself for game day. I know, I'm ridiculous. I'm a super fan and it's crazy. But it's fine, right? It's just, listen, winter in Idaho gets to be very dark, pretty depressing, not super fun, and following Boise State basketball is a highlight for me. It's how I stay sane, amongst other things. I'm not sane, so that's just a weird thing to say. But that's okay. Here we are. And it's okay. 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 I was going to lead out by reading you the funniest freaking thing I got in my email yesterday. If this offends anyone, I apologize. Uh, Also, if you don't know what the term 69 means, I can't help you. But I know now some of you are like, what the hell? So I got this email from BarkBox. When I first got my puppies, my little Chihuahua boys, I got my son bought me for my birthday a subscription to BarkBox for 6 weeks or 6 months to try to keep these dogs busy because he had this idea that I wasn't going to be able to manage all of these wild puppies. He was not wrong. But at any rate, so let me share this with you. So this was from BarkBox. Dear Katie, on Saturday we sent out an email, see below, I'll tell you about it, to our subscribers encouraging them to 69 with a friend. To us, it was a simple way to simultaneously give and receive. If they refer a pal to Bark, they both get $69 of Bark Shop credit. We have since learned that the email, particularly the 69, offended some, and for that we apologize. So I'll share a picture of the ad itself here, if I can remember how to use the internet. Maybe I can't. I don't know. Okay, here we go. Okay, so it's just a little postcard. It's two dogs. It says Bark, give and receive at the same time. $69 Bark Shop credit. This Valentine's Day, everyone should get to enjoy $69 of Bark Shop credit. Refer a pal to Bark and you'll both get $69 to splurge on Bark Shop. Okay, that was the ad. All right. So moving on with the email. In order to remedy this, we are rounding up from 69 to a completely inoffensive $70 off Bark Shop credit and making this available to prospective customers like you. Of course, if you prefer 69, we will not stop you or judge you. No matter the amount, you deserve to spoil your dog with our shop's best selling toys, gifts, home essentials, and more. To clarify, $69 was a random number that our strategy team landed on. However, after seeing the distress the email caused, I Googled 69 and immediately realized this number has other meanings. As an aside, if you search 69 online, I suggest you do so in an incognito window. Unfortunately, I used my work laptop, and now I have to take HR seminars that I designed because I inadvertently violated Bark's HR policy that I created. Not to mention that I am now getting served all sorts of ads, and Bark has an open office plan. Once again, our apologies for any misunderstanding. Our aim is to satisfy our customers and celebrate whatever they may or may not be into. Kind regards, Sharon Milberg Jones, head of HR, Bark. What the hell? I have laughed so hard. There's a part of me that thinks, was this just a marketing ploy from the beginning? They knew exactly what they were doing. And then there's a part of me that wonders if poor Sharon just really didn't know at all and just really just really stepped in it. I don't know, Sharon. I'm not sure what to say to you except for that thanks for the email because it really made my day. I'd like to think there are Sharons out there that just really don't have any idea. Oh my gosh. So there you go. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Lillian wanted to know how long it took to get the tattoo on my forearm. So I'll show it to you. It's kind of a combo of tattoos. The first was the ravens. That is so hard to put my arm in that position. Can you see that? These are ravens that are facing each other. That is a memorial tattoo that I got when my parents died. So there are two ravens that are shaped like a heart. As you know, ravens and crows have huge significance to me and it did to my mom. So anyway, that was a memorial tattoo I had gotten for them, as well as my uh, sisters. We all have one, and sister-in-law. And then I wanted to turn it into a half sleeve. And so I had them combine these two things. So these are all the flower of life. And then this is a lotus. My arm doesn't do that. That's a lotus on this side. And then, of course, all of the watercolor. So the crows themselves, I sat for probably an hour. That's that. Not very big. However, it had to be retouched like 3 times. So I've sat with this tattoo a few times. And then the rest of the piece took, I sat for it 3 times, about 6 hours. I can only sit for 2 or 3 hours for a tattoo, and then my blood sugar drops and I start to feel really bad. And so I actually went into shock one time when I got a huge butterfly on my shoulder. We were in Sedona and the artist was like, "This has got a lot of black. I'm going to really pack the black in because I know you probably won't be back for a touch up. So we're going to really go big." And I sat for like 4.5 hours and ended up in shock. And yeah, so 2 or 3 hours is definitely the max for me. And except for with this artist, I'll give you guys a tip about tattoos. Get a female, get a female tattoo artist. They have a lighter touch. They just don't go as deep. They don't hurt you as much. They're just more careful, in my humble opinion. But anyway, yeah. So I would say like with the crows all in, I'm probably into this whole tattoo 8 hours, probably somewhere like that, and probably about $800 too, something like that. So yeah, definitely. I know some people don't see that or understand that, but to me, definitely an investment that's worth it if there's something that you really want or feel like you need on your body. So I've just been thinking recently that it's been a hot minute since I got a new tattoo and really ready for something. I just don't know what. I had actually considered, I think what I'm going to do, I have this goddess here on the inside of this arm. I want to build something around it and expand it. Probably not a full or half sleeve like this side, but something like that. So that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah. All righty. Jessica, back to the email, said, "Can you imagine not knowing and then finding out what you did?" Right? If that's truly what happened, I picture her like someone's grandma, that's like texting the grandkids. Do you guys know what? you know, or just coming home from work so mortified you'd kind of like to die. Yeah, all kinds of things. But I'll be honest, I see 69 everywhere on things, and it never occurred to me to send a mad email to anybody because why would I waste my time on that? But apparently, some people do. Sid said AI should make it easier for her to avoid faux pas in the future, right? Or something. I don't know. There's another phrase in the Daybell Vallow case that has been used repeatedly by Chad Daybell's attorney, and that the phrase is crack at the apple. And we didn't know that that also has a very nasty sexual connotation. I won't tell you about it. But we have died because he has said it a whole bunch of times. And every time he says it, we absolutely melt. Apparently, there's just things. All right. Sid said AI should make it easier for her to avoid faux pas in the future. What are your thoughts about Elon successfully implanting into brains, paving the way for AI one mind? Isn't that scary and gross? I don't like it. I don't like it at all. When I was in fifth grade, I had the coolest fifth grade teacher in the world. Her name was Miss Inman. She was young, she was single, she was hilarious. She had roommates that would pop in and bring us treats. She was just a fun teacher. And she loved to read, and she would read to us every day for like an hour after lunch. And she read us a book, and I wish I could think of the name of it. It'll come to me probably as soon as the show's over. You know how that goes. But it was a book about a futuristic society where everyone had a chip in their brain that pretty much tracked their movements, their thoughts, their everything. And if the government decided they didn't like what you were doing, they would shut you down. And there was it was like a coup attempt that was going on, and people were trying to figure out how to remove the chip from their brain without it killing them. And that book rocked my world. After she read it to us, I checked it out of the library and read it again myself. And I've thought about that a lot over the years, Sid. So, yeah, not for me. Not for me. Yep. Jessica said, nothing in my brain. Well, yeah. I don't trust Elon Musk at all. At all, at all. No one should. But yeah, I think that's it's pretty scary. Pretty wild stuff. Okay, let's. Here's what I want to do today. When I was writing the Daily Dish this morning, it became evident that core beliefs were strongly what's coming up. And then I got thinking about recent work with clients, and a lot of core belief work with clients too. And so I decided to do a show today on that note. So we're going to talk about core beliefs. And then we should have time to do some core belief clearing at the end of the show as well. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about. So okay, I put a link in the chat room to Luminous. I'm going to go ahead and share it to my screen as well. You probably already received it. If you get Luminous in the email, then you received it around 10:30 this morning. Bounced all of the hearts and the Valentine stuff. It was time to move on. So I went with a Celtic forest theme. Okay. I called, I don't even know why. I called the magazine the Stand By Yourself edition because when I was writing the magazine this morning, the song that kept rolling through my head was Tammy Wynette's Stand By Your Man. Remember that old song? Stand by your man. I won't put you through any more of that. But but that's what was coming up for me. And I was thinking about standing by yourself, you know? I mean, that song probably holds some pretty misogynistic tones around, standing by your man, regardless of what kind of person he was. But in this instance, I was thinking about just standing by yourself and that maybe this is a time that you really need to support yourself, stand up for yourself, defend yourself. Yeah. So we're going to stand by us. Okay. So here's what the Daily Dish said this morning. This is in my musings. The Daily Dish said, every experience you have had in your life has taught you something. Occasionally, you will come across a core belief that is not something you believe any longer. We pick up many of our core beliefs in childhood from our parents and our early childhood experiences. Hard experiences in childhood can create core beliefs that may not serve you as an adult. For example, little girls with strong personalities may have been called bossy in a derogatory way. As adults, those same girls have a core belief that no one likes me when I take control. A child that was raised in a strict religion may not be a religious adult, but still experiences guilt when they do certain things because they were raised to believe that thing was bad. Therefore, they are bad for doing it. Today, examine your core beliefs. If you still have some old ones lingering, write out what you used to believe and why, and what you believe now. Sometimes changing core beliefs is as easy as confronting them. If you still need some help, some good energy work will help remove that old thorn from your side. So then I decided to go ahead and just write a whole article on it because obviously there is plenty of work to be done on core beliefs. And so I really wanted to dive into this because we all have them. This is just a part of our ego, it's a part of our brain, it's a part of the way we learn. But at the same time, we are in a position here where you may be working against your own best interests, or you may be playing out the same patterns in your life over and over again because of the beliefs that you carry. And that's something that we all have to work on as not even as a collective, but just within ourselves. I always go back to that analogy that I wrote in the Daily Dish about bossy little girls, because how many times were we told, and how many times did we maybe even say things like, don't be so bossy, nobody likes a bossy little girl, things like that, that they do long term damage because those little girls, and that's a really common one because that's what society has always taught us. What the hell do girls think they're doing? Having opinions, right? What do girls think they're doing? Opening their mouths? Well, here's the thing, bossy little girls turn into powerful women who become the CEOs and become the powerhouses and become the women who get shit done. But a lot of little girls got shut down. And I think it's really sad thinking about how we probably have been stifled and have probably stifled younger generations coming up in the same manner because we had the same attitude, because that's a core belief that has carried on from generation to generation to generation. Lillian said, I'm still bossy. Yeah, me too. It was a challenge for me with my oldest, Matea, because she's got a very strong personality. When she was 2, her nickname at our house was Madam President because she just took charge of everything. And I had to be really careful. And I'm sure I said things I shouldn't have at that time. When we know better, we do better, hopefully. But at the time, yeah, she was in charge of everything. I had a home daycare and she kept the ship running tight, boy. She learned how to tie shoes when she was 3. And I would have like 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds that didn't know how to tie their shoes. And when it was time to go outside and play, all of these kids would put their shoes on and lay down on the floor in a line. And my little 3-year-old would go along and tie everybody's shoes before they went outside. I always think about how funny that was. But she knew how to do it, so she would do it. And as a young adult, she's been in supervisory positions with, people that are 3 times her age because that's her personality. She runs her home and with her roommates, one of which is my son, and she just lays down the law. Things run the way she wants it to, and that's how she rolls, and that's how she will always be. And I'm very proud of that and proud of that in her because she does have a really strong get shit done kind of personality. And yet, every once in a while, I see her say or do something that makes me think, yes, at times she was definitely shut down because sometimes she falters and lacks in her confidence in herself. And I know that's probably because of some core beliefs that she received. Uh, and I think about core beliefs in myself. I was raised in a very, very strict religion. And even though I don't didn't raise my kids in that religion. I live in the culture of that religion where I live. And so the culture of it still has strongly affected my life and my kids' lives, sometimes in ways that I'm sure are beneficial and positive, and sometimes in ways that they are not. But one of the things that I think about a lot is for LGBTQ kids emerging who and their parents who may carry a core belief, whether they believe it still or not, may carry a core belief that that is bad, that's a sin, that's wrong, in a way that plays out in their relationships with their children and maybe the way their children feel about themselves. If you listen to LGBTQ creators that grew up in the 80s and 90s, a lot of them will say, that it took them a long time to stop hating themselves because they were taught that who they are was bad, who they are was wrong. And it's a lifelong challenge to roll back those core beliefs. Jessica said, that's why I'm a forever recovering Catholic. No matter what I do or think, there is some kind of sin connected to it. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. That's what those experiences will teach us. I think about kids who were bullied when they were in formative years in grade school, junior high. I see this with girls, with women, my female clients who were bullied in junior high. Junior high is the most savage time in the world for girls to behave. That's when girls start eating each other alive. And it is a eat or be eaten kind of an environment, unfortunately, for a lot of girls around that age. And so they turn on each other and they're evil to each other. And they were raised in a society with a core belief that this is how women treat each other. Even now, you will hear people say things like that. You just can't have a whole office full of women because women just can't get along. I still hear people say that. For Christ's sake. Yes, they can. But these are things that we have been taught and things that have been said. Well, our girls internalize that. And by the time they're in junior high, the media is convincing them that they are not pretty enough, they're not skinny enough, they're not cool enough, they're not fancy enough, they're not glamorous enough, they're not whatever enough, because it's always. And then on the other side of the coin, people are trying to convince them that they are too much, right? Too loud, taking up too much space, too bossy, too smart, too whatever. And then their confidence takes a major blow. Not to mention that this is a time when their bodies are changing a lot, right? And so they already are self conscious as hell because they're getting boobs, they're starting their periods, they're getting some hips, and they're mortified for people to even know they exist at this point in a lot of ways. And so it creates this energy where girls, because of their own self esteem and their own confidence stuff, they start attacking each other. I think it's better than it used to be. I say that, and then I hear stories from people that lead me to believe that I'm full of shit, and that's not true at all. I wish it was true. I don't know. But it is a time though where for a lot of us, and not just women, it's not fair to say it's only women, but that a lot of us started to form some core beliefs that we may have believed about ourselves. When I was in fifth grade, there were some boys that their nickname for me was Hippo. I was not fat. I was a skinny kid growing up. But for whatever reason, they called me Hippo. They called, well, to be fair, we had nicknames for these two boys. My best friend Emily and I were frenemies with these boys, and they called her Aunt and they called me Hippo because she was really tall and skinny. I was shorter. I'm only 5 feet tall as an adult, and I think I was 5 feet tall then too. But at any rate, even though that was said in jest, and even though maybe it didn't have anything to do with weight, that started in me a sense of being overweight long, long before I ever was. And I have carried that belief with me into adulthood, where I really had to confront it to the degree of talking to people that knew me, going back and looking at pictures of myself and videos and things, and recognizing that I wasn't a fat kid. It would be fine if I was, for God's sake. I mean, let's be real, right? And yet that stuck with me. That was a core belief that I kept. Another core belief, well, that I kept until I was an adult, and then I worked on it and through it. Now I can face that and go, yeah, that sucks. That that one sucks. But I was also thinking about just the core beliefs that I developed over respecting men, and respecting men's opinions and men's say so in a way that I find myself still sometimes flinching a little bit. Like when I share a story like on my true crime podcast, sometimes sharing a story about a man that I will catch myself kind of trying to downplay their crime or the things that they said or the things that they did. And remembering you don't have to do that. We're not here to protect anybody. Because in my world, protecting men was what you were supposed to do. And you didn't talk bad about men, you didn't challenge their authority. And if there were things that you were not comfortable with, those were whispers and workarounds, not straight up saying so. My mom didn't raise me like that. I want to be honest about that. My mom didn't raise me like that. My church raised me like that. And it makes me think about a time when I was in junior high when I had a teacher that was inappropriate with students. He was super, super gross. And at one point, our school, our junior high was a big, like, dungeness prison. Then there was a basement that was seriously a dungeon. It was awful. And his classroom was clear down there, clear away from anybody else, not where he should have been. He shouldn't have been at the school at all. But all of the girls knew that he was inappropriate and that he was gross. Nobody liked him. Nobody trusted him. And when I was in his class, I didn't like him. He would stand like lecturing right next to my desk and put his hand on my back. Uh, why? Why would you ever need to touch a student ever? But he'd do things like that. He'd stand too close. So I'd been sick. and I'd missed a few days of school. And I needed to get my homework, right? Simple enough, right? You should be able to go in and ask the teacher. They should hand you your homework. It shouldn't be a problem. It should be pretty simple, right? Well, every day in class for days, I had asked him for my homework and he said, "Oh, I don't have it ready. Just come back and see me after school." Okay. Well, after school, I had to get on my ride and go home. So I hadn't done that. But I didn't want to go see him after school because I was yucked out by him. So, but I hadn't told anybody that, right? Because we don't say those words. We don't say those things. So every day I would just ask again for the homework. And my mom was getting frustrated with me because you need to get that homework and get it turned in. There was this strict expectation of getting A's in my house. If you didn't get an A, you were in trouble. And so she wasn't happy. So finally, I tell her, he wants me to come in after school, and I'm uncomfortable with him. He's gross. He just makes me uncomfortable. Now, my mom, she didn't put up with that shit at all. So my mom was like, okay, well, you shouldn't have to do that. So the plan we made was that I would just take my friends with me and I'd just go in and then we'd walk home from school. So we'd go in together, get the homework, and leave. So I show up after school with two friends in tow. He takes a look at them and he takes a look at me and he says, "No, come back when you're by yourself. You don't need to have friends in here with you. I'd rather do this while you're alone." So I left because that's what my mom told me to do. And the next week, my mom was at the school having a meeting with him and the principal, wanting to know why he was asking me to join him alone in the basement to get homework that he could have handed me at any moment. And you know what the principal did? He brushed it under the rug. He said, "Oh, I'm sure there's a good answer." And the teacher, of course, just said, "Well, I just didn't want her to be distracted." It was literally handing me three pieces of paper. That's all it was. This was not an attempt to it it it, it wasn't because I needed to not have friends with me. This was an attempt to do something to me because that's who this person was. And my mom straight out called him out. She said, "My daughter's uncomfortable with you. Other girls in the class are uncomfortable with you. You put your hands on students, you touch students, you're inappropriate, and it needs to stop." And the principal was like, "Wow, Mrs. Brower, I mean, we don't have any, immediately jumped to protect him. Of course. My mom wasn't like that, but I was like that because I was raised like that in my religion. And so the idea that we must protect men is something that is a core belief that I have had to work on in myself and work through. These are That's what core beliefs are. Children that were abused may very well grow up with core beliefs that abuse isn't that bad, or that they are expected to take abuse, or that abuse is normal, abuse is commonplace. Abuse is something that happens that I'm expected to, or that I will keep quiet, or I have to accept abuse in order to be loved. That's a really common one I see in women that have been abused. I have to accept abuse in order to be loved. So what do we do with core beliefs like this? Sometimes they're less damaging and sometimes they're actually positive. But I know while I'm talking that I'm triggering some things for you guys in core beliefs that you have from the way you were raised, right? Or maybe not from your parents, but from your teachers, your classrooms, your friends' families, society. I mean, that's what core beliefs are. It's where they come from. So, first of all, spotting the patterns. If you catch yourself in the same emotional loops or making similar decisions over and over again, that's some core beliefs. When I have clients that just keep picking the same shitty men over and over again, and they go, "Why? Why do I just keep attracting the same guy?" Well, You're not maybe attracting them, maybe you are. But moreover, you're choosing them because your core beliefs support that person. So it is about examining your own core beliefs around whatever topic and start spotting those patterns so that you can make a change. Putting your beliefs to the test. This is where you really start looking at, where did these beliefs come from? Sometimes you don't know. You might not. You probably don't remember everything that happened when you were a child. You couldn't possibly remember anything. I mean, most kids don't remember anything until very faint stuff before 5, and even 5 to 7 is pretty faint, with maybe a few breakthrough, really strong memories. So there's a lot of things that you just might not really remember. For example, I have a client that we were working on abandonment stuff. And when I was doing some clearing work with her, what I was seeing was that she was allowed to cry in her crib for a long time before she was ever picked up. And then as a little child, if she was in trouble, would be put in her bedroom for timeout for hours at a time, all alone. And that started some beliefs around abandonment that have followed her clear into adulthood. And that's what we're talking about. She didn't remember that happening until I triggered that memory. And then she said, actually, that also happened to me as, in grade school. I do have memories of being forced into my bedroom and staying in there for many hours by myself when I was in trouble. That's why timeout is supposed to be age appropriate. For Christ's sake, whatever. Anyway, but again, asking yourself, where did they come from? Are they based on facts or assumptions? Do they still serve me well, or is it time for an upgrade? Don't be afraid to challenge these beliefs and explore new perspectives. This also really comes into play when you're talking about dogma and religious belief. Whatever you were raised in religiously, maybe you still believe that. And if you do, that's fine. But if you don't, you might still catch yourself with some old religious belief. I hate to even admit this, but I'm going to because I think we're all growing today. I sometimes, when I'm in public and I see somebody that's heavily tattooed and pierced, get nervous. Is that a bad person? I'm heavily tattooed and pierced. But I was raised to believe that you see people like that, heavy on the air quotes, and that maybe they're a dangerous person, a scary person, a bad person. I hate that belief. I've worked on that belief a lot of times, but every once in a while it still creeps up in me. And I know where it came from. I know exactly where it came from. It was my grandma. Probably my religion too, but a lot of it was my grandma. I can remember taking her into public and running into people again like that and having her clutch my arm in fear of the bad people. They weren't bad people, they were just people. We didn't know who they were. We didn't know that they were bad people or good people. But her belief was that people who were different from her could be a threat, could be scary, could be frightening. And I carried that belief. That was a core belief that I gained from her. And again, it's one that I've had to really counter and work on. And remember that just because somebody is different doesn't mean they're bad. Okay. Seeking support and guidance. Sometimes you just need some support. You need to talk these things out. You need to speak it into motion, right? What do I believe and why? What do I want to be rid of? Sometimes it just helps you to get a brand new perspective, but this is where energy work can help a lot. And I'm going to do a couple of these clearings for us on the air today. Getting mindful, meditating, allowing yourself to be present with your thoughts without judgment. All of those things are very helpful. So that's it. That's how we work on core beliefs. So we'll get back to it. Kelly is on break this week. Okay. My tip of the week is a moon bathing meditation. Find a comfortable spot outdoors where you have a clear view of the moon. Sit or lie down in a relaxed position and simply gaze at the moon. I know, it's winter. You might be able to do that and you might not. Frankly, I think that driving out into on the desert and just sitting in the car and gazing at the moon is just as effective. But I know everyone's situation is different. As you breathe deeply, visualize the moon's energy infusing your body with peace, clarity, and renewal. One of my favorites. Okay, Christy's energy exercise this week is her energy breathing. Really good one to recharge and refresh when you need that. Of course, there's lots of crime over at True Crime Squad. That's how it be over there. Archangel Shamuel, that's who Anita brings us this week. He's known for his incredible, all knowing vision. His name means he who sees God and shines very brightly with the light of the divine. And she's got a little write up about him and how to connect to him. Jamie Dawn has a brand new video about the full moon in Virgo. The moon is full on Saturday. So looking forward to that one. There's lots of new meditations over at Planet Meditation. Of course, Planet Meditation is the meditation page that I have on YouTube. And I put up a new meditation. I'd like to say I put a new one up every day. I want to. I don't. But it's the goal. I've several new ones a week, though. I'll definitely give myself that much credit. Yeah. And there you have it. So that is Luminous this week. So hopefully that gave you a few things that you were needing or looking for. Yeah. Okay. Just want to take a quick look at the chat. Yeah, my mom was fierce for sure. Laurie said that is such crap that women can't get along. I have a dance community of women that love each other madly, right? That's bullshit. That is something that has been said to us that is just simply not true. That unfortunately we have sometimes put into play, but it doesn't have to be true. That's crazy. Sid said, being bossy is a necessary survival skill. Always being nice has caused many women to dismiss red flag warnings when their safety is at risk. 100%. 100%. Yep. There's a true crime podcast. I think it's True Crime Junkie. They say something along the lines of be weird, be loud, stay alive. Yeah. JR said, for me, I was treated like I was a bother. I still struggle with this and I'm working on it for sure. Thank you, me. I think I did raise balanced and free spirited children for the most part. Yeah. Me said I was written up for brightly colored scrubs working in the ER of a hospital. They wanted me in dresses and heels. Wasn't for me, so I stayed me and carried on with a smile. Can you imagine that? Dresses and heels to take care of sick people. But you had to look the part. Those heels, they make your butt stick out. Men like that. So sorry about it. Dumb. Yeah, I'm all for it too, Lillian. Let's change out those old core beliefs to Wanda. uh, Pamela said, topic reminds me of having to confess my sins to the bishop. As a 13-year-old girl, alone with a male adult asking about sexual things creeps me out to this day. Yeah, indeed. And I'd like to say the Mormons are the only ones guilty of that, but it's just simply not true. Men in religious positions seem to have a really intense interest in the sexuality of girls. And it's very gross. And we need to continue to stand up against that and protect girls from this stupid shit. Okay. Rebecca, I did not. She said, did you ever hear the Annie DeFranco song Hide and Seek from Living in Clip, her live album? Amazing song, hard to listen to, but she shared some of her stories about being female growing up. No, I'll have to seek it out. I think this is exactly, we can only counter our own core beliefs by experiencing them, by talking about them, by remembering them, period. So I would love to do a few clearings. Yeah, nice. Me said I was raised as a military dependent, non judgmental of others, like meeting new people. That's awesome. And that I'm sure has served you well. Yeah. So if there is a core belief that you want to clear, throw it up in the chat. Yeah, JR. So what do you want to work on? Do you think we should work on clearing the idea that you are a bother or a nuisance? Is there something else that you want to attack? I mean, you don't have to tell me what the belief is if you don't know. I'll go digging for it, but I would like to know what you want to work on so that I can hit the mark. Yeah, that. Okay. All right, miss. Sorry, guys. I had a live stream for true crime this morning, so I've been talking all day. Okay. All right, here's the belief. I'm seeing it in your root chakra and in your solar plexus. And the belief is I am a nuisance and a bother. I need to stay out of people's way. So I'm going to start at your feet and command a Merkaba clearing. Since this is in more than one spot in your energy body, I'm going to just do a full clearing on it because it's probably in other places too. So commanding a Merkaba clearing, commanding billions of many points of light to flood your system now, completely healing, clearing, and releasing the core belief that I am a bother, I am a nuisance, I need to stay out of people's way. Commanding these beliefs to be healed and cleared and rendered neutral and inert in all directions of time now through every cell of your physical body, every layer of your emotional body, and every fiber of your spirit body now. So I'm going to watch those clear through you. Big rush of anxiety through my chest here, JR, as we start to clear those out. So we'll just breathe through it and allow them to leave. The reason it's in your root is for that was survival. And the reason it's in your solar plexus, that has affected your self esteem and your confidence throughout your life. Okay. Now going back to your feet and commanding a Merkaba blessing. Commanding that the old core beliefs be replaced with new core beliefs. That I have every right to be here and take up space. I have every right to breathe the air, to speak the words, and to belong here. I have every right to be seen and to be heard. I am supported and loved by those around me. Commanding these core beliefs to shift through every cell of your physical body, every layer of your emotional body, and every fiber of your spirit body now. I'm just going to watch that shift through you. Good. Okay, I'm just going to wrap you up in a bunch of thick pink light just for fun, for nurturing. All right, babe, and you are good to go. Okay. Lillian said, please clear me. I'm bossy, opinionated, all of the things that piss off my friends. Okay, then. Oh, Tara said, I definitely resonated with being left alone and feeling abandoned. Yeah. It's why the cry it out method, while I know sometimes it's hard to not do, is can be a really damaging one to kids if we're too committed to it. All right, Lillian, let's take a peek. It's not a core belief. I mean, maybe it is in the positive, but I'm just going to give you a good clearing in general. I mean, you have to remember a lot of core beliefs are positive. They're supposed to be here. But even seemingly positive ones can do damage over time if you don't believe them anymore. They're very fluid. But I'm just going to give you a good clearing in general here. And wrap you up in a bunch of orange light. I like that orange iridescent light that just helps attract good people and good situations. And wrap you clear to your head in that. Good. Perfect. JR said, wow, I felt that. Thank you. You are so welcome. Farida, I would love to clear you, do a core belief clearing, but will you please give me a jumping off point? What do you want to work on? And I'll absolutely do that. Yeah. Let's see. You too, me. Yeah. Tell me what the core belief is you want to work on. We don't have time to go digging, on the show. So if you give me something specific that you want to work on, I will absolutely dive into that. My honor. Just jumping into the other chat room here. Okay. Tara could use some good root energy clearing this week. We are shifting everything in our home after the fire across the street last week. I'll bet you are. Clearing away all the bad and inviting light, all of our light team in. Ugh, I can't even imagine. Fire is so violent. The energy of that is long, do I dare say long suffering? I don't know. I did, so here we are. All right, let's do some good grounding for you. I am going to recommend that you, with the full moon, do a big energy release for your neighborhood. And if you have some ideas about how you want to do that, great. If you need some ideas, let me know. I'll help you brainstorm it. But the full moon's coming up on Sunday or Saturday. That would be a great time to just let go of the trauma and the violence that happened in your neighborhood and benefit everybody. So I did a good clearing there for you, a good grounding for you. You actually feel pretty good to me. So I think, though, working on your house right now is a really good spot to start with to make sure that, all of your bases are covered too. Okay. Okay. Me said, my being too trusting. Okay, sure. All right. Let's take a look. Okay. So the core belief, and it is in your root. Some of it is about respect, that I have to respect. I have to respect, trust, and believe everyone around me. And some of this is being put in very frequently into new situations with new people without a lot of warming up time, if that makes sense. So we're going to start at your feet and command a Merkaba clearing. We're going to command that the core belief that I must trust and believe and accept everyone around me. Oh, this goes a little deeper. Regardless of my intuition. That's where it is. That's the rub. That's it right there. Regardless of my intuition. Be healed and cleared and rendered neutral and inert in all directions of time now through every cell of your physical body, every layer of your emotional body, and every fiber of your spirit body now. Good. So, really, the true message here is that it's okay to trust your gut and your intuition on who you want to trust. Interesting. On the surface, that could have been a belief that seemed pretty benign, but when you get under there, okay, starting at your feet, commanding a Merkaba blessing, commanding billions of many points of light to flood your system now, completely shifting that previous core belief to a new core belief that I can trust my own gut and intuition regarding trusting, accepting, or acknowledging other people. I do not always have to be nice. Commanding these frequencies to shift through every cell of your physical body, every layer of your emotional body, and every fiber of your spirit body now. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Oh, we had a troll? Why do they always wait till I'm in the middle of something? Okay. I think that's all we're going to be able to get to. But I do want to tell you that, and you're so welcome, my honor. Sheila said, I will purchase a time based session with you and work on this. Today is one of those days I need support. Absolutely, love. But I did want to point out that I am a professional psychic advisor over at one2listen.com. And I do work like this over there every single day. And so you can go find me over there. Uh, a time based session, especially on days that we aren't on sale, is a great option. It is anyway, because then we know how much time we have to work with, which is actually really nice. So I'm going to put a link in the chat room for a 15-minute time-based session with me. 15 minutes, 15, 20 minutes is typically all the time we really need to do a clearing like this. So if there's some core beliefs that are hanging on to you that you feel like you could use some help with, this is a really great way to do it. So again, that's at one2listen.com, number one, number two, listen.com. So putting in a link here, and I will be here if I can help you guys. So I'll be back next week, same place, same time. Thanks so much, you guys, for being here and all of the support, you guys. I appreciate you more than I can ever say. I love you. You are definitely a part of my core family. So thank you for all of that. You have been listening to the Katie Weaver Show here on 1-2 Radio, where we're changing the way you listen to the world.